Reichsmarshal Hermann Goering on May the 7th undoubtedly netted the best known of the leading Nazis after Hitler himself. Goering's conviction that Eisenhower would wish to speak with him was rapidly punctured, and in the days that followed, his prime concern seemed to be that, at the very last, Hitler had denied him and instead appointed Admiral Dönitz as his successor. When, on May the 20th, he was flown to Luxembourg to be interned along with other leading figures of the Reich, a confidential report sent by one of his interrogators warned that Goering was not to be underrated and should not be regarded as a comic figure. His appearance and manner disguised a still cool and calculating mind, as was revealed when on trial at Nuremberg, where he emerged as a most formidable defendant. Other than that of Rommel, the names of only a few German generals were known to the public in the USA and Great Britain during the course of the war. One of these was Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, and he was both portrayed and seen by many on the Allied side as the archetype of the Prussian officer in the German army. Indeed, he was the senior officer in that service during the conflict. He was nevertheless anything but sympathetic to the Nazis and made his feelings about Hitler, whom he called the Bohemian Corporal, known to more than a few around him. Sacked and frequently recalled by Hitler, he was by 1945 old and worn out. He was captured on May the 2nd and is seen here being taken into captivity. In 1948 he was indicted for war crimes by a British military court, but served just 1 year. He died in 1953. Smiling Albert Kesselring, while a Luftwaffe Field Marshal, held numerous commands. He was the second man to serve as Luftwaffe Chief of Staff. He also commanded air fleets in the first years of the war, was the senior German commander in the Mediterranean, and oversaw the German campaign in Italy. His final command was of the forces defeated by the US Army in Germany in March-May 1945 and was captured in Berchtesgaden on May the 15th. When appointed to the office of Inspector General of Fighters in December 1941, Adolf Galland was already a well-known fighter ace with 94 officially confirmed victories and Geschwader commander. From then until December 1944, when he was unceremoniously sacked by Goering, he attempted to organize and best use the Luftwaffe's fighter arm against impossibly growing demands. Galland became Goering's scapegoat for the inability of the fighter arm to defeat the Allied bombing campaign over Germany. Still wearing his uniform of Generalleutnant and his Knight's Cross with swords and diamonds, he's seen here with his US interrogator, Major Max Rosendorm of the United States Army Air Force. In the best tradition of fighter pilots everywhere, they used their hands to do much of the talking, and the subject of their conversation was the Me-262 and JV-44, the elite jet fighter unit commanded by Galland from January until war's end. Oberst Hans Ulrich Rudel fell into American hands, despite being wanted by the Russians, who'd been the primary victims of his remarkable destructive expertise. This flyer's record was unique. He emerged from the war as the most highly decorated of all servicemen in the Wehrmacht and the most highly decorated flyer of all time. His career in Russia was inextricably bound up with his favoured aerial mount, the Ju-87 Stuka. By war's end, he had flown 2,000-plus sorties and had destroyed over 500 Soviet tanks in his cannon-armed Ju-87G. He even flew again after losing his lower right leg in early 1945 and was the only recipient of the Knight's Cross with golden oak leaves and diamonds. He's seen here along with Galland and other high-ranking Air Force and Army officers prior to boarding a US Army Air Force C-47 transport, which flew them all to England on May the 14th for much longer in-depth interrogations and debriefing. Rudel declined to renounce his Nazi sympathies after the war and became involved in right-wing politics in Western Germany. He died in 1982.